All right, welcome back. Lake Effect Sports, episode 3, and the positive vibes only train keeps rolling here on this show because the Indians split with Chicago. Roll off the panic buttons, everything like that. I think this was overall a pretty darn good week of Indians baseball. What are you thinking, Matt?
I think this was definitely a big step forward, even though it might be just a split series. It was still very important to show that we can be competitive with Chicago, because a lot of people were going to probably count us out if, say, we got swept or we lost 3 out of 4. So taking 2 out of 4 and splitting with the White Sox was so important, man. It was so important.
Yeah, I think today's game was the most important because it didn't really feel like we were going to win at any point until, like, of course, when Jose hits the home run. Because Lance Lynn was dominant for a solid 5 innings where we couldn't touch him. And then Jose broke the game open. Savali did a phenomenal job of just keeping us afloat with only giving up that one run. And I hate to say, like, it saved the season because we could go win 15 straight in July. But
Yeah.
it at this point in the year, it felt like one of those, like, huge momentum wins, kind of ease the fan base. And I'm just really happy with this team so far.
Yeah, I'm definitely happy with how things turned out this series. Like after that first game where things kind of got weird with Yu Chang, like, throw the hit off the runner's head. We don't have to get into that, but like then we won that. Then Shane Bieber tosses a dominant 9 innings and we win in extras. And then that all the steam was taken out of our sails with that no hitter on yesterday, and then today was just so needed. It was just needed just so we could, like, get back on track, ease everybody's mind. I think the players in the middle of the game were kind of letting that negativity swirl for that first 5 innings because it felt like hopeless at times. But we thank God we got the win today.
Yeah, and at one point I want to talk about just throughout this whole series was after the first game, I was just kind of thinking to myself, like, man, Adam Eaton, really underrated player. By the end of this series, he managed to be one of my least favorite players in the entire major leagues. I think he leaned into 2 to 3 pitches this series,
Yeah.
and he caused the fight. Somehow didn't get ejected. Let's talk about that for a little. Jimenez does nothing wrong on that play. He catches it, and White Sox fans are in a whole tizzy over him pushing him off the base. What do you think happened on that play?
God, White Sox fans have been in a tizzy since, like, Roberto somehow purposely got hit in the back of the foot. But yeah, like Adam
On a back
Eaton,
foot slider.
yeah, on a back foot slider, which happens all the time. But anyways, like, yeah, like Andres doesn't do anything wrong. Eaton thinks he's in the wrong, and so he pushes him, and bench is clear. And it just was clear that Eaton was just frustrated and just blowing off steam, and Jimenez was right in front of him and pushed him, and which was uncalled for because, well, you let yourself go off the base by yourself. That wasn't him. That was on you. And, like, yeah, he's definitely in that Sergio Romo realm right now, and it's well deserved.
Yeah. Well, and he, like, almost tried to tackle him too on that play. Like, he grabs at his leg, pulls him. You pulled yourself off the back, dude. Like, he's
Yeah.
an idiot. That was just annoying. He was just bugging me thoroughly after that moment. So I think for the rest of the year, I'm gonna be holding that against him, and probably the rest of his career now. So usually,
Oh,
when one player spites me, I don't forget it anytime soon.
yeah. It kind of reminds me of, like, um, who was that one Yankees catcher? He used to be a dick back in the day. Like, AJ Brzezinski.
Oh my, that
AJ Brzezinski used to drive me up a wall. He was that one player that I hated on the White Sox. Like, he would just always talk back to the umpire. He would always have something to say on the field. He was just that one guy that just got on my nerves, dude. And that's what Adam Eden reminded me of when I was watching it.
Yeah, definitely. But overall, I mean, would we go 5-2 this week?
Yeah.
Zero complaints. We are right back. Are we in now? So we're in first place for now. The Royals play tonight, correct?
I think they're idle, so technically we have more wins, but they have, like, less losses. So technically they're in first, but I mean, we have more wins. But
Yeah. So whatever. I mean, who cares? We're back right at the top of the division. The Twins have looked really bad to start the year. And
Oh my.
we showed we can go to Chicago and beat the White Sox.
Yeah, can't complain, man. Like, and this is to all the fans out there that seem to just want this team to fail, because I don't know why there's so much angst, so much vitriol every time something goes wrong. Like I saw something on Twitter. I think it was like um Indians reporter, I forgot his name, but he said like Indians had only had one hit since Shane Bieber said look out for us, and it's just like, what are we doing here? We're only 12 games in. Like, what? Like, how are we this like emotional like early in April? Like, I don't get that.
I mean, I understand. And like, of course I am, and I'm sure you are too. I despise Paul Dolan. I think we've got great not ownership, we've got great like staff, great GM, coaching, everything like that. So if he's in charge of hiring that, I guess I can't hate his guts 100%. So 99%. Of course, him not paying people like Lindor, and I think that's actually for the better.
Mm-hmm.
I think moving Carrasco also for the better for this team. I think he just gets a lot of negativity, and that goes towards the players. They're not out here. They're the ones that are here to play for us. Why are we mad at them? It has nothing to do with what they're doing with Paul Dolan not paying guys. So let's just keep it rolling. I think we've got a lot of positivity right now. And this is a great team. So before we do some Indians questions that you have, I want to do a new thing. I'm going to call it our 3 stars of the week. So
Okay.
you can have first pick this week, and it's a very easy first pick. 3 best players on the Indians this week. So we can't both take the same guys. So we'll do a little snake draft. You get first pick, stars of the week, and you can kind of talk about that player.
Okay. I'll probably go with Shane Bieber on this one. I think it was pretty easy to take him first overall after that 9-inning performance. Like, he pretty much carried the team to a victory to keep them in it, to like set up that extra innings rally that propelled them to win. And I feel like that was so huge. Like, that him just with all those guts to just like gut it out for 9 innings like he did. Like, that he's my number 1 for that reason.
Yeah, and that's obviously the number 1 pick. And I think for me at number 2, it seems like an also pretty easy pick. Aaron Savali, 2 great outings, 7 2/3 against the Tigers.
And
I was at that game. First came back at a sporting event in over a year. He was just phenomenal. Got rained on a little. That sucked. But he really looks like he figured it out. And I wasn't sure if it was just, hey, he faced the Tigers and played well against them twice. Now you've done it against the White Sox. That's a legit lineup. No one would say otherwise. And he looks good. He struggled a little in that first inning. But after that fight, maybe that's what energized him and said, screw these guys. Like, I'm going to play my best ball. So Savali's easy number 2 pick.
okay. And for number 3, I'm probably going to have to go maybe Franmil, I would say, because he's probably been the most consistent offensive player so far in this early part of the season. And when he gets hot, he's just amazing.
Yeah, no, and he had a pretty horrendous Chicago series, but he kind of carried the offense against Detroit at points. So it was kind of like one of those give or takes, because picking an MVP for the Bats right now is...
It's a needle in a haystack. It's not great right now.
So I'm going to go with another bat as well for my second pick. And this is not necessarily that he was like the most dominant or anything like that. It's going to be Jordan Luplow.
Really?
And Jordan Luplow, he just had a solid, consistent week. He got on base a bunch. He just was handled lefties well. And I think he's kind of shutting up the haters, because I know there's a lot of people just who were complaining all year with Jordan Luplow hitting leadoff, because he had that 0 for 30 this year. But my biggest complaint with that, those same fans just screaming out Luplow for his 0 for 30, which is an anomaly at this point because he was hurt, played poorly, and every other time since then, he's been very solid against left-handed pitchers. One of actually the best in baseball against left-handed pitchers.
I saw a graph with Luplow, like the guys that he is a part of. It's him, Nelson Cruz, Nelson Cruz, Alex Bregman, and one other guy. And that's like elite company right there. Like you can't go wrong with that against left-handed pitching if you were in that type of company.
Yeah, definitely. So back to you, your final pick of the week.
Final pick of the week. I'm gonna go with Clase.
You love him. That's got to be your favorite guy on this team. Class.
I love Clase, dude. Man, he's just been so dominant. Like every time he's come into the ninth inning or whatever situation, I know he's just going to handle business because on top of throwing 100, he has pretty good control for a guy that throws 100.
Yeah, no,
like you can't go wrong with that.
Points.
Yeah, like he'll throw it at somebody's hands against a lefty, then right-handers they just can't seem to like square up his slider. It's unbelievable.
Be nice if the fielders could figure it out when he's pitching. Well,
Oh
I mean,
God.
today was only considered one error, which I don't know how. I don't know if you know, was Naylor's misplay considered the error, or was it Jimenez's at shortstop?
I would probably consider Jimenez the error because Naylor it hit the ground and then it ricocheted into the netting, which technically is still in play, but I whatever. But yeah, Jimenez is probably the error. But yeah, he's had a weird week. Like Yu Chang throws the game away in the first game of the series, and then Jimenez has the ball just bobbled in his hand. He's had a weird week with fielders behind him.
Yeah. Good thing the fielders don't really have to do too much when he's back there, though.
Oh, yeah.
So the third pick, it's kind of between two guys for me. And obviously Jose, and then there's like a Karinchak. Jose didn't have a great batting week, but he did have the clutch homer. Karinchak, consistent hand out there this week. I'm going to go Roberto Perez. Roberto Perez called some great games, especially that Shane Bieber game, just sticking with the curveball. He has such a great ability to form game plans for this Indians team that I think that he's doing more than just Gold Glove work at this point. And he had a pretty decent week at the plate. So if Roberto ever has a decent week at the plate, you know he's going to have a great week behind the plate fielding. So phenomenal.
Yeah, like that's such an underrated part about Berto that people don't realize is that he can call a game and it just seems like they're just playing catch out there because they leave hitters on their toes, always like swing and miss stuff, and it's always pinpointed. Like they're always prepared every time. Like Berto is behind the plate, and it's remarkable.
Yeah, definitely. He was just phenomenal. So those are our 3 stars of the week. Before we get into questions, you got anything?
Let's just jump into questions.
All right, fire them away at me, man.
Okay. What do you think is more vital to the Indian success, the offense, the starting pitching, or the relief corps?
We have an amazing relief pitching right now, and obviously that's insanely vital to any team closing out the game. It's the most important part. But when it comes down to it, it's the starting rotation. You got 5 dudes who can go out there and are going to get you 6 innings and might not give up a run every single time they're out there. It makes it a lot easier for a bullpen, and it also makes it a lot easier for a lineup that's not that great, obviously. They don't have to do too much. They have to score like today, 4 runs. They only really needed 3 to get the job done even. So when the lineup only has to do a little, it's the starting rotation. Because even say we do make the postseason this year, they're going to have to throw great games because I don't think anyone trusts the lineup to go out there and get you 5-6 runs and really give you any breathing room. So for me personally, I think it's just the starting rotation. Well, what about you?
I think starting pitching is definitely obvious, but I think the relief corps, because like when you have a bullpen that has 3 different weapons like Whitgren, Karinchak, and Clase, you shorten the game. You make it so much harder in those 7th, 8th, and 9th inning at bats to start anything or come back. Like I mentioned with Clase, if you have a guy that has a cutter that throws 100 and has a wipeout slider, you can't really square him up. Karinchak, same thing, and then Whitgren, he's a little bit more of a junk pitcher, but he never gives up hard contact. And so like if you have those three-headed monster in that 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, it's just so important. That's why like especially with the offense not scoring runs that prevalent, the bullpen is much more important, I would say, right now.
Yeah, and I guess I agree with that too, especially like say in the postseason when you can shorten the game with your starters. If they can only go 5 innings, those guys can give you 2 innings or whatever. We haven't seen that yet, and I think we might have to try that out once or twice. Not a ton. I don't want to burn out anyone's arms, but to see if guys can go a little bit longer like we would need them in the playoffs, like Francona's always done.
Yeah, definitely. Like that. Definitely need to like stretch out those arms while we can, but try not to burn them out. But having that bullpen there that's shown to be very consistent is very important. Like definitely right when these bats are inconsistent right now.
Yeah, I feel a lot better about this bullpen now that Tyler Olson isn't someone that we need to get out of big
Tyler Olson. Yeah, forgot about that guy. Or like Nick Hagedorn, you remember him?
Nick Hagedorn. Dan Otera's one good season.
Woo! Yeah, we've had a lot of like interesting characters in that bullpen that we're glad are gone now.
Yeah, I got one. I'm gonna probably mispronounce his name. What is it? Mark Rajinski?
Oh, Rajinski. Yeah, I remember him.
That dude was legit.
Yeah.
In 7th innings and he shut things down.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, like he was very good when he was here. You're right.
Yeah. So what else you got?
Second question. Who are you more excited for? Bobby Bradley, Daniel Johnson, or Nolan Jones?
For me, this is a very easy answer, and it's Nolan Jones, and it's not even close. I've never been high on Bobby Bradley and Daniel Johnson. I don't think they're superstars. They're pretty old at this point, and they haven't been able to crack a roster. I know like this year it's about like contract manipulation and stuff like that. But if you're 26 years old and you can't make the opening day roster, even with Jake Bauers there, if he was really good, he would be playing over Jake Bauers. And I know, and we would cut Bauers. And Bauers had a great game today. So he trashed 2 hits. But if those guys were good enough, they'd be on the roster. And I know everyone's coming at Dolan for being a cheapskate and whatever, but they're not good enough to play for a reason.
Yeah, they're probably just not as ready as people try to make them be. Like Daniel Johnson has always, to me, felt like a solid piece more than a franchise changer. Like same with Bobby Bradley. He's a nice piece, but you're not sure what he can be at the major league level. But since Nolan Jones is probably that future franchise cornerstone, that's for me definitely the one that I'm most excited about.
Yeah, Bobby Bradley really scares me. He's going to strike out a ton, and he doesn't get on base much. It's either he's a home run or a strikeout. He's not even like the 3 option guys of home run, walk, strikeout. He's just home run, strikeout. And I don't like that at the major league level.
Yeah, if you're going to be you can't, I mean, the game right now is very 3 true outcomey, and like you don't want a guy that's like striking out half of his at bats, especially with how the league is right now. Like if he can't get that down, it's just they can try. Fans will try to make him more than he is, but if he strikes out a ton, doesn't put the ball in play, he doesn't have much of a future.
Yeah. Well, one last thing before the next question. I just kind of think he might just come in and be a 200 hitter, and people are just going to be furious and mad again about something else and just completely just change their mind and switch directions of their takes. But hey, I hope he's great. I just don't really see it.
For sure. Who are you more scared for in terms of the division, the Twins or the White Sox? But this is probably more obvious now. But when I was writing this, I didn't expect the Twins to be falling apart. It seemed like.
Yeah, and the Twins are going to right the ship. I'm pretty sure the Red Sox are kind of just red hot right now, and they did beat the Red Sox today, I believe.
Yes.
So they'll figure it out. There's too much talent there. But for me, it's really the White Sox because I think we can hit the Twins, and if our pitching can just keep them maintained enough, we'll be fine. My thing is, I don't think we can ever hit Lucas Giolito. We've never done it once in our careers here. So yeah, if he's on the mound, he's giving them 7 innings of probably 3 runs or less baseball. Realistically, 2 to 1 runs or less baseball. And that's why they scare me. Their ace is just as good as ours. I think in the AL right now, it's Bieber, Cole, Giolito.
I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. Like the White Sox are definitely a more well-rounded team, and we've seen that the rotation is probably up like head to head with ours, like it's a coin flip, but their bats definitely scare me. Like even though it's like you got Abreu, you got your main Mercedes, you got Tim Anderson, you got all these different guys that they can throw at you, and it scares me. They can come at you at waves, like what happened with Zach Plesac, like 6 runs in 1 inning. That didn't surprise me, but it surprised me that it was Zach Plesac because, but I mean he's had issues with Chicago for whatever reason, but.
And I think the Twins could do that too, but I think we could match the Twins in that sort of game. Where the White Sox, I don't know if we can match them if they start really crushing us.
Yeah, like I know we're going to definitely be competitive, but if it gets out of hand, we don't have the bats to like keep up with them right now. So like definitely agree with your Twins take, but the White Sox is definitely the one I'm scared about.
Yeah. So, any more questions?
That's all. That's all my questions for me.
All right, so perfect. Get to talk about the Browns this week. It happened.
Finally, dude.
It happened. We did it. We got a piece now next to Myles Garrett. We got a dude, just a straight up dude. That's how you describe Jadaveon Clowney. Someone who can really change the game. And really, now we have someone to try to help stop the run.
Yeah, we finally got a guy after 2 years of just trying to get Jadaveon Clowney. We finally got a guy that can be paired with Myles Garrett, who's another athletic freak. He might have not lived up to his number 1 overall like pick, but he's still a guy that you want on the other side of Myles. Like he can set the edge. He can like cause pressure in the interior. The dude is a freak. We're like the only concern is his injury history, and that's pretty much it. Like with him.
Yeah, and I mean that's a pretty scary defensive front now. So that leads to my next question. What position do you take now in the draft? I think for me personally, you still got to go linebacker. We never really did too much to make that better this offseason. And I know everyone still wants corner, but I think we've got some guys there, especially now getting safety help let me reword this altogether. Our D-line's going to help our corners. They're not going to have to guard as long. And now we have safety help over the top where our corners don't have to be playing one-on-one all the time.
Yeah, like the linebacker position is definitely the obvious weak spot. And I think if, say, Jermaine Uwais-Okoro falls in our direction, I would say pounce on that dude. He is probably the one guy that would fit pretty well with Joe Woods' system because he's so versatile. He can be a safety. He can be a linebacker. He can come off the edge. He can do all these things that that most linebackers do. I feel like he would fit so well in that linebacking core.
Where'd he play? I don't know. I do not know this draft class at all.
He played for Notre Dame. He was probably one of their better defensive players, and he's been a draft crush of mine.
ACC Defensive Player of the Year. Is that one?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, he's legit. He's definitely pretty good. I like him or the Tulsa guy. Either one of those two, I think I'd be pretty happy with. But even now, if Andrew Berry's just like, hey, I think we got all we need, best player available, and then you just go whatever they think's best there, that works for me too. I'm not stressed about the draft this year.
Yeah, like at 26, and after the Clowney signing, they can go in any direction they want. They could go edge rusher, corner, linebacker, even wide receiver if they're feeling like, hey, let's get this guy. Why not? Like that, they can go in so many different directions.
Yeah, and just speaking of the draft, this has just been bugging me so badly today. ESPN, do you know where they have Justin Fields going now?
I think I know where you're going with this.
They have him going 24th to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No.
In what world is Justin Fields going to fall to 24th? There's 20 teams ahead of them that are taking a QB before the Steelers get him at 24. I don't think Fields is falling past 3. And any analyst trying to build up this crazy idea that he's going to fall in the draft is dumb. He has been the second best player in this class, and some people have even said the first best for a long time now. there's this narrative now that Zach Wilson is so much better that I don't even know the North Dakota State guy. Oh, Trey Lance. I don't get how you can possibly take him over Fields, and there's nothing he does better than Fields. And then Mac Jones, taking Mac Jones over him, especially when like one of their biggest arguments for Mac Jones is character. The guy with DUIs, and Justin Fields, the guy, like they're making up these false narratives about Fields. He shows up late to practices. He's the first one out. And then we've got Ryan Day coming out saying, what are you idiots talking about? Talk to me if you want to know about him. He's always said, he's the first one there. He's the hardest worker. He's the one who stays after and late for film. He didn't say that about Dwayne Haskins. He honestly actually said, hey, man, he's got a lot of work, and I think he would really do well with another year of college. He's not saying that about Justin Fields. He's saying all the good things about him. So whatever the media's crazy built-up idea they have of Justin Fields, I feel like it's just wrong. And I would love to see Fields go to an optimal situation like the Niners or the Patriots even.
Yes.
If he does fall to the Patriots, even though I don't love the Patriots, I'd love to just see him do well.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I saw an even stupider one. There was a draft analyst that said, oh, his background in baseball, it messes with his throwing motion. You saw that too, right?
Yeah, I retweeted that. And I said, what idiot is saying that when we have people like Kyler Murray, a top pick in baseball and a top pick in football, Patrick Mahomes, a baseball player, Russell Wilson drafted in baseball. What are you idiots saying? Like, how is that? Fields has perfect mechanics. Every normal scout with a brain thinks his like throwing motion is great. I don't know where they're getting this from.
Like I get it if it's like, oh, he may have some processing issues, like that's fine. He had some issues last year, but like it's not like he was like a complete liability at times. Like he led OSU to the national championship and beat the #1 overall pick, Trevor Lawrence, like, and showed everyone why he's a top 5 pick. And yet all these like galaxy brain draft analysts are just figuring out these different like reasons not to draft him, and it just asinine.
And you brought up something that even just disproves the biggest narrative that he can't go to his second read. Do you know which quarterback in college football was highest rated on their second read from Pro Football Focus? Justin Fields with a 91. Trevor Lawrence, he was of the main like drafting quarterbacks last with 77 grade. So this narrative of him not being able to make his second read is idiotic. And if you're going to say that type of thing, say it to someone like Trevor Lawrence, who has actually shown proof and signs of not being able to get to the second read. That's all I'll say there.
Yeah, like nothing more needs to be said. Like, it's just idiotic at this point. It feels like more a media-driven thing than like the actual NFL people like inside these buildings thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. So that's Browns talk, and we've got the redheaded stepchild right now of Cleveland sports, the Cavs. Yep. Gotta always talk about them. We're both wearing our Cavs stuff. It's
championship. Always remember, baby.
Yeah. Where to start? I guess we're ruining the tank. Garland looks good.
Yep.
I just love when Taurean Prince scores 25 in a meaningless game of basketball. Oh. Guys, we're trying to lose. Like, he went 9 for 12 with 25 points. At least Garland figured out we were trying to lose. He went for 16 in the first half and 1 in the second half against Charlotte. He knew what was up. Like, I don't know. You're with me that you would like to lose every single game the rest of this year, right?
Not necessarily lose, but I understand probably in the bigger picture, we probably need another guy. Like, I feel like right now they got so injured in the very beginning and put themselves in such a deep hole that like they probably just need to focus on the draft. like I know that they're only like 2 games out of the play-in and they're getting healthy right now, which kind of is counterintuitive to that plan. But like, yeah, I think more than likely we got to focus on the draft more than the play-in right now.
Yeah, and like say we do get that 10 seed in the play-in, what does that do for us? Lose to the 7 seed, maybe beat the 7 seed, and then maybe make the playoffs and get swept in the first round by the Sixers or Nets. And I think we could actually take one from the Sixers, honestly. But who cares? Really?
Yeah,
I've always been of the rule, if you can make the playoffs, play for the playoffs. This is not making the playoffs. When you're the 24th best team in the NBA, that's not really making the playoffs. That's just more than half the league gets in now. So what are we doing here?
yeah. Like, I would think the best case scenario in this whole thing, if they do make the play in, it would be is if they lost because they still keep their lottery pick, and hopefully the lottery guys just reward them for not tanking, which I feel like is the case. Like with some of these teams recently, like the Pelicans didn't really tank, the Grizzlies didn't really tank, so maybe there is like if they can just be competitive, but just competitive enough to where like the lottery kind of rewards them, I'll be fine with it. But not the play-in. Just let's not try to accidentally win and get just crushed in the first round. That's not what we want.
Yeah, but like my big thing is because I just love Cleveland guys so much. Like if we make the play-in game, I'm gonna want to win then because
Oh yeah,
make it back to the playoffs is fun. So like what I don't know. No. Let's
it's
just lose
yeah,
out.
it's such a
Let's lose out.
conundrum. It's such a conundrum right now because like I'm watching them right now, and this is the first time all the starting five has been together. Like before, they've only played 2 minutes, and now they're out there playing, and it's just like after what they did yesterday, I kind of see the vision of what they're doing, but I just feel like if this was earlier in the season, I'd probably be more excited. But now I'm just kind of stuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean that there's not really much more to say about the Cavs. Like we can talk about other games, but who really cares about a team 14 games under 500 right now in fighting for a 10 seed? So that's really all we have on Cavs talk. We wanted to no Masters talk really. It's kind of past that. So
Mm-hmm.
Matsuyama, congratulations, first player from Japan to ever win one. That's awesome. But
Great moment. Great moment.
yeah, that was really cool. I loved his caddy doing the little bow to the course.
That was such a great moment to give the like to do that. Just give the Masters that respect, and like in that moment while they won, that's such a cool moment. Like to see that live.
Yeah, I gave the Masters respect by going out the next day and starting my first round of golf going 7-7. So that was a triple and a double. So that's how I respected the Masters. But oh, one last thing. Most importantly, I have the smallest of small updates on the Tyler Naquin situation. I almost
Ooh.
forgot. It's still not a good update, really, but it is technically an update. So this guy, I feel like I should say his name, but I'm not gonna. I have already. It's Cody Reams. You guys can all find that guy. I don't care. I don't like him.
Yeah. Who cares? Just
Yeah,
let it rip.
Cody Reams, that guy. So I decided, like, you know what? He's not responding to my texts. Let's go to Instagram DMs. So I sent him one, and then when you send someone an Instagram DM, it says how recently they've been on Instagram. So I sent him one, and then I sent him a second and said, I know you see these because you're on Instagram. So he responds, so I thought you wanted boards because my text before I said, nah, I just want my money back. And I'm like, dude, it's been a year and a half. I got new boards for my dad already. Like, just give me my $200. Oh,
Yeah.
we're gonna get my blood pressure up at this end of the show, and I've been so calm the entire time. So
Just let it rip, dude. Let
and
it rip.
that's why he didn't respond to anything else after that. So I'm probably gonna go text him after the show and just say, dude, respond. Give me my $200. Like I needed to like come up with a plan to like gotcha him. Like I wish I could just like silly string his house, TP his house, anything. Like just I don't like the guy. He is my mortal enemy for sure. Him and Brian Shaw, 1A, 1B.
Oh, the uh I was gonna ask if you wanted to do 30 seconds of Brian Shaw ranting, but I don't think it's probably not worth it now. But
No,
if you're
no complaints. I think he only pitched like once this week, so he can keep doing his own thing, and we're fine.
yeah, just have him in the corner. Just do your thing.
His best ability to me is his unavailability. So,
Yep. But next episode, if something happens, I'm gonna let you rip.
I get 30 seconds. That's the most. Because I'm going to not be the pessimistic Cleveland sports fan I always am. I'm going to try to stay positive, even with my mortal enemy on the team. So I only get 30 seconds to complain about it. But
Yep.
that's today's show. Again, I feel like another great show. So if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts. Rate us 5 stars, like, comment. Check us out on TikTok. Our links will be in the description. Thank you guys for watching. See you next Friday.